Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm finally back from my week and a half long hiatus. Unfortunately, I didn't really get sick. I've kind of been battling it vehemently, but I do have a very annoying cough. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my throat is just dead, and I feel okay. I have some congestion, but to me my voice sounds awful right now. So I got back on Saturday and it's been a couple days, but I didn't want to leave y'all hanging. So even though my voice is completely shot and realistically wishfully, I would like to give my voice a couple more days to rest because I'm coughing like that too. So I figured it's probably going to be annoying coughing like that every like 5 minutes, but well, I'm still gonna do one game and we'll see how that goes. And yeah, sorry about that. This cough has just been following me for like 5 days. I think I got a stalker off the cruise that I was on. Awful. And I don't. Yeah, the only thing I know, I don't even know how to get rid of it. I think it's just rest, and I'm drinking a lot of warm water or warm fluids, tea. That is technically warm water, but it's a great pain I live with every day. But, oops. But what do we have here? What do we have here? We have Flash versus Action. So, I watched these games the day that I got back, and I was very impressed by Flash's play. Unfortunately, I didn't know if I was going to be able to find VODs for this. So I kind of procrastinated in making this VOD or even looking for them. I didn't even try, to be honest. So Monday rolls around and I'm just looking at some VODs. I'm figuring, well, there's a bunch of TV or MMA games. I want to see how Polton Bomber lost and WCS America as well. I don't mind the spoilers. I'm not a big stickler for spoilers. I'm here to learn. And then I decide, well, why don't I just check the GOM TV YouTube channel? And there is every single game that I thought that they might not have had, like down to the code A games, like and all. There's like all the sets too, which is amazing. So I'm very happy that I'm able to record this game and be able to analyze it because Flash he is just I'm starting to feel like he's starting to get a better grip on this game, and it's not the big results, the big things that make people stand out to the public. For me, it's the small things, like his building placement, the small variations in his build that he does. In this game, Flash is going to be going for command center first into 3 command centers into just regular Bio Hellbat Thor. It's basically the same as Innovation's build, except instead of adding Widow Mines, you're just adding Hellbats and Thors. But Flash, he's just improved so much. Like it's just the small stuff. Like I was also noticing this game that he pretty much kept his money below like I'm not going to say 500 because that's really easy to do. Well, not really easy, but relatively easy to accomplish for any gamer. But what he did was he kept his money below like 200, 100 at all times, which is pretty ridiculous, especially in a TvZ game. Like at one point he had like 3,000 minerals, or not 3,000 minerals. He had 3,000 mineral income because he was on 4 bases, and he was just like he was spending his money as soon as he got it. So his macros really come a long ways as well. Oh, and the other thing I want to say was back in Brood War, there used to be this thing called, or there used to be this thread, and on Team Liquid, in the strategy section, and it was how to macro better or something like that. I don't remember the title, but basically that's along the lines of it. Like being able to macro better. And one of the tips was, back in Brood War days, to shoot for keeping your money below 300 minerals and 200 gas at all times, unless you are, let's say, saving up for upgrades. Like starting 3-3, that's like 500 minerals and 500 gas right there. Starting a 4th command center, that's 400 minerals. So like there are some times that you are allowed to spike up, but in general, when you're just macroing, to stay below 300 minerals and 200 gas. And Flash, if you I'll point it out too, like how I'll be like, oh my gosh, his money is so low, but he has really brought back the new meaning to macroing in StarCraft 2 by being able to keep his money so low. Okay, enough of that. Finally, I can stop rambling. So, just a little building placement note. He has the bunker and the 2 depots in a regular position, but he walls off with his command center in an unusual way. Generally, on this map, you throw your command center down right here where the supply depot and the bunker is. Let me just make sure. I have a feeling. Okay, everything's running. Everything's good. Okay. Sometimes I just get that feeling that it's bad, and I don't want to record for like half an hour and then kill my voice and then find out that didn't work. Alright, so this is a standard part of the wall. Another standard way is to put the command center next to the bunker and or instead of put the 3rd command center where the bunker and the depot is. But Flash decides to put the command center here, and it is still a full wall off. I just thought it was kind of interesting to note how his building placement evolves throughout the game. He doesn't necessarily have a fixed building placement, and he also changes builds a lot too. Also, following his kind of like just trend in recent TvZ games that I've been able to watch, he was in a habit of going Reaper Expand for a while, and now we see he's switched up to 14cc. It's kind of just to keep him unpredictable, and it really is a strength of a good player to be able to mix up your builds and to be able to execute different builds at the same level as a build you're normally used to doing as well. And as we can see here, he is doing another variation to the normal wall off. Normally you have a depot over here, you put your barracks here with a tech lab, but Flash decides to make another wall, and that is to add a barracks, or put the barracks here and then wall off. Well, it's not a full wall off just yet. He might have been able to do it if he put the barracks like right there with the tech lab, or maybe not, I don't know. But what he does is he adds a depot right over here next to the tech lab, creating a full wall off. So he basically is creating a second wall off with the barracks, and he can also put a wall or a depot right there as well, creating kind of a double wall on this area. So it's just small stuff like that, which really speaks to me that Flash is starting to understand the game more, just because of that kind of stuff. Like he doesn't throw down. If you can throw down your buildings with a purpose, always do that. You almost never want to be throwing your buildings down randomly. Otherwise, you kind of start losing track. Well, not losing track, but you can gain small advantages just by fixing your building placement and having a clean building placement as well. So as we can see here, Flash, he's scouting with his first 2 Hellions. This is okay on this map. I don't mind it because versus a 1-base Baneling bust, if you're going 14 command center and you can wall off before the Zerg player Baneling busts you, then you can basically wall off and then have a bunker up before the Baneling bust hits on 1 base, like we saw Vortex do in a couple games to win the what's it called? That invitational, Vasicast, that's it. To win that. So it definitely is a kind of a metagamey thing. You kind of have to suspect your opponent to go for a 14C to do it. It's kind of suicide to do it against a Reaper Expand. But Flash mixes up his builds, and therefore it has a very, very low percentage chance of working. But anyways, back to the scouting. He is splitting his first 2 Hellions up, which is what you should be doing if you're scouting with your 2 Hellions. All the minerals you can save up the better. It's a pretty big map, and scouting with one SCV can take a long time, and by the time you reach like cross positions with SCV, if you scout like that way then that way, you really don't gain any additional information. So I'm perfectly content with scouting with Hellions when going 14cc. And we can see here Flash is kind of doing like the greediest build as possible. He's getting his engineering base before his second and third, oh my gosh, second and third barrackses. But he is also playing safe at the same time. See that Marauder right there? He made 2 Marines, and then he made the Marauder, and now he's continuing Marine production, which I really like. Sometimes people just cut their units, and they don't kind of utilize all of the production buildings. I mean, it's just 1 racks, but all these small units, and especially the Marauder right now, will, if you don't make a Marauder here, some roach timings, before speed, after speed, just any roach timing that hits around the 7-minute mark to like 7:30 will do a lot of damage. You really need that Marauder, otherwise you won't be able to keep the bunker alive, and you're just going to lose a bunch of SCVs and pretty much lose the game. So Flash, he's playing very safe and also very greedy as well, getting those second and third, or first and second engineering bays before the second and third racks. The safer version, of course, would be to get the second and third racks before the first and second engineering bays. Usually I just write X2, but that sounds weird to say. Like, get the X2 racks before the X2 engineering base. Oh, silly me. So, just a little analysis. Layer starting before the +1/+1, which is good. At the third hatchery, kind of late. He's opting for faster tech action, that is. He's taking action, and he's going to try to be more aggressive. Against the build that Flash is doing, and Action has not scouted this at all. Like, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he hasn't, but let's just keep a look on the Overlords just to make sure I haven't missed anything. But I believe Action did not ID what Flash was doing, and what Flash was doing was playing super greedy, and Action's response to that should have been to take a very fast 4th base. Instead of like adding a macro hatch, you should be taking your 4th base at like 10 minutes the very latest against the build that Flash is doing. But I don't really think Action... Oh, he got Overlord speed, so that Overlord came in from that direction. So he saw the 2 engineering bays. So Action did have the proper scouting information necessary to make a good read, but I think he was just a bit on autopilot. Of course, he's probably a lot more nervous than Flash in such a big tournament and playing against such a big name player. These mistakes are bound to happen, and it is such a small mistake as well, because that Overlord saw the 2 engineering bays really fast. That means the second and third barracks wouldn't be up yet. But if he saw the second and third barracks in the engineering base building, then he would know that Flash got the racks over the engineering base. So a very small mistake by Action. He's playing as if Flash is going for the second and third racks before the 2 engineering bays. Other than that, though, actually that is pretty much... That's like that's a very big mistake, because Flash is playing super defensive / super greedy, and Action isn't doing anything to punishing it. He's not playing greedy on his own by taking a fast 4th. He's not playing aggressive either. Of course, you can't really be aggressive against this build unless you do like a big Roach Bane all-in or a Roach Baneling bust, and even then it's still not an instant win. So what Flash is doing is super greedy, but it's the greediest way to play, and having the smallest amount of things be able to hard counter you. Another thing to note is where Flash takes his 3rd base. I really like this position as the 3rd base, because you can wall off that area over there, right there, that little depot line. And yep, right there. You can wall that off really well, and then Flash puts the bunker next to the third command center, so that right there. See, Action's building his macro hatchery. He should be building it as a fourth base and then adding the macro hatchery. Because if he doesn't get his fourth base up, he's going to be very far behind, which I'll point out later in this game. But oh yes, the wall at the third base. You can kind of, it's a very natural feeling. You can also wall off at this third base. Oh my god. How about try talking quieter? That might help. You can also wall off at that third base there, but I believe it takes more depots than this wall off does. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to check. Oh my gosh, Flash's money is so low, and like he just started 3 or 2-2 as well. So like his macro is just his economy is nearly perfect. Like he doesn't really get above 300 minerals at all. Like I'm just staring with my mouse, and like he gets to over 200 for a little bit, but then he goes right down. So like that's extremely solid macro, and if you can get to that, that's like higher than high grandmaster macro basically. Like he still hasn't even gone above 300 minerals yet, so that's when you know that your macro is really good. When you're, and like he's not overbuilding depots. All of his production is building. He's not overbuilding SCVs. He's exactly at 64, which is enough because he's not getting the sixth gas. So, oh, there's his macro. Kind of slipped. Nope. I can't even really say it slipped, like, because I have to pause the game to see over 300 minerals. Anyways, Flash here, kind of interesting how I did notice it earlier. He has 3 medevacs at 11 minutes. That's kind of odd. Let's just backtrack a little bit to see exactly when he made that. My internet. Okay, so it looks like he made 1 medevac there. So he must have made a medevac while he was making a reactor on his factory to get that first medevac out, just like I thought. And then you can just switch it over and then make your 2 medevacs right there. So already Flash has optimized this build so that at the 11-minute timing that the 2 medevacs usually hit, he hits with 3 instead, which is a huge increase to your army at this point in the game. So that's why he has 3 medevacs. It wasn't a macro mistake. It was on purpose. And it's a very small variation to this otherwise pretty normal looking build, but it makes worlds of differences in this kind of high level match. Oh, wow, that's really blurry. But another thing to note is that Flash is not moving out with these 6 Hellions. These 6 Hellions are on the defense because they're going to be moving out when his 4th and 5th medevacs come out, and he's going to be doing a multi-pronged attack designed to clear creep in this area of the map. So with that in mind, that is his goal right now from the 1-to-1 timing, or the 1-1 timing to the 2-2 timing, is to clear out creep spread. And how does Flash do that? He does that by getting Action's army out of position. And also, as we see, his 4th base is starting, but he doesn't really have a great drone saturation. I would say his economy is equal to Flash at best, but realistically it's slightly behind because he didn't take that early fast 4th base and he didn't saturate it. I mean, he has 41 lings, and he could have made like 20 extra drones. Okay, not 20, maybe 15 extra drones before starting a round of lings, and the round of lings would pop out just now when this army got to the watchtower. So just a small thing like that, not being able to get full saturation to fight this, puts him in an awful position, and as a result, Flash's supply is going to be larger than Action's because Flash does have a better economy than Action right now. So right now, Flash does not want to engage, Action does not want to engage off of creep. So what Flash is just doing is he cleared the watchtower, he was able to pick off an overlord over here, kind of a mistake by Action. But now he's going to be going down to over here. And Flash knows that Action's third base is here, so the most logical spot to pull the fourth base is over here. And once again, that macro hatchery should have been a fourth base. This fourth base is extremely late, and that is putting Action in a world of hurt by being on even bases with Flash. So Flash, he is moving part of his army here, and it does seem a bit like it's out of position, but at the same time he has 3 Medevacs, which is enough to pick up this entire army. And if he is over here, he can quickly boost to this area on the map. And that's a very important area to take note of if you're a Terran player, because it is the Medevac safe haven. It's like you're the Hobbits and you're traveling to Bree because you're running from the Nazgul. The Mutalisks are the Nazgul. And the Zerglings are the Orcs, which aren't there yet in the movie. But basically, all you have to do is get to Bree, and you get to meet up with Aragorn, and he's going to save your ass. So Aragorn is over here, Bree is over here, and once the units get to this little edge, it takes an even longer time for the ground units to wrap around here to get to that ledge, and the Mutalisks number is simply not. You need to have like 30 plus Mutalisks, which is not going to happen before 12 minutes into the game, to be able to clean up 3 Medevacs worth of units. So by staying in this area of the map, Flash is not only drawing out Action's army to be out of position for when he starts to clear these creep tumors, but he also has a safe spot to back up into in case he gets cornered down and he needs to retreat. So now Flash, he's moving out with 2 Medevacs over there. See, he's boosting immediately. He basically wants Action to try to chase him that way, because if he does, Action's army is going to be out of position. And what Flash really wants, once again, is to destroy these creep tumors. And now we see these, oh my gosh, those 6 Hellions have moved out with the 4th and 5th Medevac, as well as the first 2 Hellbats. So what this is basically a 1-1 timing, or like 2 timings in the 1-1 stage, because this little group of units started to move out when 1-1 was complete. Now these groups of units are kind of moving out, but 1-1 has already completed, so it still is a 1-1 timing, but the upgrades aren't nearly as important. It's important to get to 3-3 as soon as possible. Once again, Flash's money extremely low, and his gas is kind of spiking up, but that's a-okay because he's going to be needing 500 gas for the 3-3 upgrades, and he's going to be starting to make Thors in a little bit, so it's not even, like, it's okay that it's like that. He kind of need to start banking up gas right now. So Flash's macro is still on par. And as we can see, his economy has kind of just skyrocketed, mostly in part not because he has done any damage. Flash has not done any damage. He killed an overlord there. He maybe picked off a ling or 2 over here, maybe another ling or 2 over here. But the reason why he's ahead in supply right now is because Action's 4th base is so late. It should be mining, it should be saturated. If that macro hatchery was at the 4th base, he would be in a much better position, and he'd have a much more even supply. So we can already see Flash's build itself, just the build itself is paying off completely. So now Action's army is completely out of position. He took the bait, and he's going to be chasing after these ships, because 3 Medevacs worth of units does seem pretty juicy. But Flash gets what he really wants. He wanted this creep, and he's going to just scan. He gets free kills over it. And see over here, the Mutalisks can't continue chasing. They have to wait for the units to wrap around. And even then, Flash can just move to the low ground if he really wants to. But he's really just content with killing the creep tumors over there. And even though this is kind of a cost-inefficient trade, he is ahead because the 4th base is so late by Action. And he's still doing a good amount of damage by killing so many creep tumors. He's wiped out this entire area of the map, and with it, Action's map control. And as we can see here, Flash isn't even, like, he doesn't want to end the game. He wants to get on 4 bases as soon as possible. This 4th command center came down, takes 100 seconds to build. It looks like it's at 60 seconds. So it started at about 12 minutes. That's how freaking fast it was. So, yeah, it started right now. So, when Flash was moving out with his 5 Medevacs, he threw down a 4th command center. That's before any other Raxes. That's before his 2nd factory. So that it would, like, you don't want to be even bases with a Terran player in this TvZ matchup at all. I don't think you want to be even bases against a Protoss player either in ZVP, because Zerg needs a lot more bases and they need more gas. So by taking this 4th expand, it kind of just means that Flash is he's ahead, and he's just gonna do things to keep him ahead. He's not necessarily looking to win the game, like, oh, try to dart in and snipe the 3rd base or try to snipe the 4th base. He knows he's ahead, and all he has to do is macro up, and he's just gonna be able to win the game because he has a big macro advantage against Action currently, and has had it because Action's 4th base was so late. That's a really good pick, or really good lift off by Flash, but also really risky if Action was targeting the Medevacs, and it looks like he was targeting some. He might have been able to get it, but again, it's very, very not okay. I guess it's not really that risky. It's a lot harder for Action to target that Medevac down than it is for Flash to just pick up those units and boost away. So that was very good by Flash, keeping those units alive, and as a result, he's able to win this engagement. Action, he almost has enough, not quite. Flash is able to just kind of like pick up, go away, because he knows that he doesn't have enough Marines to fight the Mutalisks and the Zerglings and Banelings. But all throughout this engagement, even though Flash didn't take that many good engagements, what he does have is a 4th base ready to lift off. It's lifting off right there in the bottom hand corner. And Action's 4th base is not even mining. He's had it up for like at least a minute, and he has been stuck at 68 drones because all he's doing is making units, because he's kind of like trying to plug a hole with something. I don't know. I can't think today. So, Flash getting those 3/3 upgrades. Now, in this part of the game, we're going to be on even upgrades relatively soon. Action's 2-2 is just about to finish. So now that they're in even upgrades, all Flash wants to do is kind of move around the map, threaten the Zerg player, but he doesn't want to take an engagement until he hits 3-3 and gets that upgrade lead once again. So, paying attention to his movements, he is moving out, just taking the watchtower, but he doesn't want to be aggressive now. He just wants to secure his 4th base, and this is a freaking early 4th base. Like, so his 4th base is down, and Action's 4th base hasn't even started mining yet. Like, he's now starting to make a few drones to start mining, but he's only at 70 drones, and that's not where you want to be against this kind of build. And that all comes back down to taking the 4th base after the macro hatchery instead of putting the macro hatchery down at the 4th base, because he could do that, because Flash was playing kind of a greedy build. So now Flash, he just wants to stay defensive. He doesn't want to like engage right now because Action's standing army is still relatively big, but it's okay if he takes some engagements. But for the most part, he just wants to stay on he's on his side of the map. He doesn't have to worry about creep because he has completely destroyed Action's creep spread. He killed, it was like 25 plus tumors with his first 5 medevacs worth of units. So even though he didn't get cost-efficient trades, if you factor in the creep tumors, then that made him very cost-efficient. And now, unfortunately, it's very blurry, but we see this battle about to unfold. Flash, he has 1 group of units here, 2 groups of units there, 3 group, and 4 groups. So he has his units in a very nice arc, and this looks like a scary army, and normally a Zerg army would be able to tear through this Terran army, but because of this very nice arc that Flash has, he's able to win the engagement because of it. And plus he also has some reinforcements stimming in as well to create 2 additional extra groups that are already pre-spread. So yeah, just a bunch of carnage. It was a really good trade by Flash. Even though he's kind of like even in supply, that's not the biggest deal anymore. The supply difference was mainly because Action's fourth base wasn't mining, and he was playing an economically inefficient game. See, he's only at 73 drones right now. Like, this is what he should have been at 5 minutes ago, and this is what his fourth base should have looked like at 11 to 12 minutes in. But it's been pretty much not mining for the past 3 minutes, so not good by Action. Not good. Well, not good by him. It's more like not good for him. He's in a terrible, terrible spot. Now Flash, he just has the watchtower. I believe he's making a sensor tower right now. Once again, look at his money. Just insane, his macro. Like, he does not float money at all, and like he's constantly making units. His macro has really improved and stepped up this season, it looks like, and I'm looking forward to seeing more Flash games in Pro League. Like, okay, so he has like 3,000 mineral income, and he's spending his money as soon as he gets it still, which is pretty insane. So anyways, now Flash is starting to max out. He's really waiting for 3-3 to finish, though. That's why he hasn't been very aggressive lately. See, his 3-3 is almost done. But before that, it's okay for him to like start posturing around the map. Notice his entire army has not moved. Like, since 2-2 finished and 3-3 has started, he has not really done anything with his army. So if we look on the minimap, like his army, he's at the watchtower. He's only ever gone up to his watchtower. Like, even that engagement earlier on was only at his watchtower and close to his reinforcement point. So his army positioning has been very defensive thus far after the initial 5 medevacs cleared the creep tumors. I shouldn't have backed up. That was a big mistake. Okay, whatever. I'll take it. So he's at the watchtower. He just wants to keep that watchtower. The watchtower is very important. Watchtower, 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 ... And there's nothing really Action can do either because he's only on 3 bases right now. He's finally getting his 4th base. Finally, he has full saturation. But it's a bit too little too late. Okay, but Flash's army right here, like if we just even look at the minimap, he doesn't go past this watchtower. Like he wants the watchtower, and then he just moves around. He wants to be close enough to defend the 4th base against Mutalisk Harask, or counterattacks at the 3rd even. But other than that, he doesn't want to apply any pressure until he is maxed out, and he is at 3-3. So that's why he is waiting. He's also adding a sensor tower. Very important to note the timing. He's just finished it right before 3-3 starts to finish, right before he's maxed out. So the timing of that sensor tower is designed to protect him against counterattacks and against potential Mutalisk Harask when he moves out. Because when he doesn't move out and when he's being defensive like this, he doesn't need the sensor tower. He can just stim his army back and defend just fine. But when he does move out and he starts to get on the other side of the map, on Action side, then that's when counterattacks become more scary. So adding that sensor tower right now is a very good decision by Flash. Certainly can't fault him for that. And now his 3-3 is just about to be finished. Once again, like, he's basically maxed right now, and really it's a rule of thumb that you should never ever float money until you are maxed out. Like, the only reason you should float money is if you are starting a command center, if you're saving up for upgrades like 3-3, or if you are maxed out and you simply can't spend your money anymore. Those are the only 3 times you should ever start piling up money. And Flash does a phenomenal job at showing that kind of a concept and how it applies to all the games that he's been playing lately. His macro is just so on top. So anyways, Action here, he's kind of in a bit of trouble. His 4th base is finally starting. It's so late. I'm not even going to go over it again, except it's just a big mistake by him by scouting Flash but misreading the situation. And these players are teammates, so I'm sure Flash does a bunch of different stuff to Action. It's a very small change that Flash did to his build, but it is a change that Action must react to. And since he didn't, Flash is able to just economically out-bully Action because he just has a better economy. So now notice how his entire army is pre-spread. If we were in the game and we clicked like here and then here and then here, that would take 3 screens of the map. That's how far Flash's army is spread out over multiple screens. That's the ideal spread situation that you want. So that when attacks like this happen, and especially if they're off creep, then you won't be able to kill the Terran player with the Zerg units. So as we can see there, this isn't even funny, this is just sad, because Flash's 3-3 immediately kicked in. Like, this is pretty much exactly when he kicked in. It couldn't have gone better for him. So, like, oh my gosh, just, that's amazing. As soon as 3-3 finishes, he starts building armor immediately. Okay, so if you look there, 3-3 is gonna finish in like 3, 2, 1, boom, building armor. As soon as it's done. That's like, he didn't even waste half a second starting that, which is pretty insane. So, and 3-3 is finished now. Like, Flash has 1 upgrade complete. His other upgrade's gonna finish soon. So now he wants to start taking engagements against the Zerg player. Like, basically there were no engagements from the 2-2 period to the 3-3 period. But as soon as 3-3 hits and Flash is now ahead by 2 upgrades again, he goes for the kill. And his army pre-spread to like fit over multiple screens, which is the ideal kind of pre-spread that you want. And now there's nothing really Action can do. As long as Flash stays pre-spread, like you can see here, his army is never clumped up into a ball. Well, almost never. Even now, it's like not really clumped up into a ball. He still has it very well spread out, so that at any point in the game, if he ever tries to get attacked, like see there, 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, it's always spread out into multiple groups, and that's what you must have if you want to win battles against Medevac forces. Now the pre-spread comes in, and now he's just able to clean up everything, mostly because he has a bigger army, but also because of his good pre-spreads, and GG is called. So, going over a quick recap of that game. It was a pretty standard game. The main things that I want to highlight is just Flash's building placement, how much thought he puts into the building placement rather than just placing buildings randomly, and the small variations in Flash's otherwise normal play, such as getting the 2 engineering bays faster than the 2nd and 3rd racks. And this isn't, like, I'm not saying this is a good build to do every game, but it's a great build to do in a best of 3 situation, or if you are playing someone who knows how you're playing and you want to mix something up just slightly and throw them off guard with different timings, then that's when you do it. But you don't want to do it every game because it is not 100% safe against all all-ins. And then third, just another 1 small variation, adding that 1 medevac when the factory was building the reactor, so that Flash would have 3 and then 5 medevacs, 3 and then 5 medevacs instead of 2 and then 4. It really made a big difference as well. Yeah. Oh, and adding the 4th base at 12 minutes into the game. That's when he started it. And it landed and started mining before 15 minutes, so by like 14:30. That's just an insanely fast 4th base timing, but Flash was completely safe he was completely safe to do that in the first place, especially because it was cross positions frost. It was favorable map positions as well, and he was able to clear the creep spread back a lot because of the 3 medvacs on the south position, and then the other 2 in the top position, or just in that area, is by splitting his units up and splitting Action's units up, getting those creep tumors. So yeah, very standard game by Flash, and won in a very dominating fashion as well. I think these kinds of games are best because it highlights the decision making by players that allows, like, the things that they do that allows them to win games so effortlessly, and we can that we can understand and try to copy them for ourselves, and so that we can do the same on ladder and make Zergs really mad. Alright, as for next video, I don't quite know when I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to do it later this week because I do really want to give time for my voice to rest and for my cough to go away. Otherwise, if I don't, it's just going to stay there forever. I've already lived through that, like one of my a couple summers ago. It was very annoying. And okay, so see you guys later, and don't forget to subscribe on the bottom too.